Hi Eladim, it's Mar Abby. I'm going to read you the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. This is one of my favorite books. I really enjoy the story. I think it's a perfect time to read it right before Lag BaOmer. In the days after the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash, the Romans ruled over Eretz Yisrael. They had destroyed the Beis HaMikdash and they often made terrible decrees against the Jewish people. But they also built marketplaces, bathhouses, and bridges, which helped the Jews. Once, three great Tanaim were sitting together. One was Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, one was Rabbi Yossi, and the third was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The Romans have built so many nice things, said Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai. They've made our lives easier. Rabbi Yossi kept quiet. He was afraid to speak against the Romans because he knew that if they found out what he said, he would be punished. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, however, did speak against the Romans. We shouldn't praise the Romans, he said. They didn't build any of these things to help other people. Everything they did was for themselves. A man named Yehuda ben Gerim was sitting on the side listening to the conversation. He heard what the great Chachamim said, and he later repeated their words to someone else. He didn't realize that this person would tell another person, and that person would tell yet another person, until the story would reach the ears of the Roman emperor himself. When the Roman emperor heard what each of the Ta'anim had said, he announced, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai spoke kindly about the Romans. He will be given a position of honor. Rabbi Yossi was silent and did not stick up for the Romans. He must leave his city and go live in the town of Tzipori. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai spoke badly about the Romans. He shall be punished terribly. Soldiers were immediately sent to capture Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. When Rabbi Shimon heard about the terrible decree, he ran away from his house so that Roman soldiers would not find him. He took his son Rabbi Elazar with him. They hid in the Beis Midrash and spent all their time learning Torah together. Since it was dangerous for Rabbi Shimon to walk in the streets, his wife brought bread and a jug of water to Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar every day. Time passed, and Rabbi Shimon had still not been found. The emperor sent out even more soldiers to search for him. Rabbi Shimon became afraid that the soldiers might see his wife and force her to tell them where he was hiding. He decided it was time to take his own son and run away to a cave where even his own wife wouldn't know where to find them. But how would they survive in the cave? Who would bring them food and water? Hashem made a great miracle happen. As soon as they got to the cave, a carob tree suddenly sprouted in front of it, and a spring of water began flowing next to it. Carob tree and a spring of water. Here's the cave. It's right outside. Now they would be able to eat and drink. Normally, it takes 70 years for a carob tree to give fruit. But Hashem made this tree give fruit immediately, and every Friday, in honor of Shabbos, the carob tree turned into a date tree, so that the two great tzaddikim would have special food, l'chvot Shabbos. When Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar had run away to the cave, the only clothes they brought with them were the ones they were wearing. They realized that it might be many years before they'd be able to leave the cave, and they knew that wearing their clothes for so long would surely ruin them. Therefore, they decided to save their clothing for davening only. The rest of the time, they sat in sand up to their necks as they learned Torah together. During the many years in the cave, Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar learned deep secrets of the Torah. Eliyahu Hanavi sometimes visited them to teach them as well. During this time, no one had any idea where Rabbi Shimon was hiding, and no one was able to learn Torah from him, except for once. It happened that some Tanaim were learning Torah together when they had a very difficult question that they could not answer. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai got up and said, "What a shame that Bar Yochai is not with us and that no one knows where he is. He could have helped us answer our question." One morning, a few days later, one of the Tanaim named Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda was walking when he saw a dove. Rabbi Yossi called out to the dove, O dove, you have been trustworthy since the flood in the days of Noah. Please be trustworthy again and bring something for me to the place where Rabbi Bar Yochai is hiding." The dove circled and came to rest in front of him. Here's the dove. Rabbi Yossi wrote a difficult question on a piece of paper, which the dove picked up with its beak. Then it flew off to bring the note to the cave. When Rabbi Shimon read that note, he began to cry. "Why are you crying?" Rabbi Elazar asked him. "I am crying because we can't be together with the other great Chachamim," answered Rabbi Shimon, "and also because the answer to their question is a hidden matter and we don't know it." As soon as Rabbi Shimon said these words, Eliyahu Hanavi appeared in the cave and explained the answer to him. Rabbi Shimon wrote the answer on a piece of paper and put it into the dove's beak. The dove hurried to carry the note back to Rabbi Yossi. He was in the same spot where the dove had left him, even though by now it was already evening. "O dove," Rabbi Yossi said happily, "you are more trustworthy than any other bird in the sky." Rabbi Yossi took the note out of the dove's beak and quickly went to tell the other Chachamim what had happened, and of course, to show them the answer that he had received. When Rabbi Yehuda read the note, he cried. Even though we don't know where Rabbi Shimon is hiding, he continues to teach us and Hashem continues to make miracles for him. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar stayed in the cave for 12 years. At the end of that time, Eliyahu Hanavi stood at the opening of the cave and called out, "Who will tell Bar Yochai that the Roman emperor has died and no one is searching for him anymore?" The two tzaddikim inside the cave heard the good news. Now they could finally come out of hiding. They left the cave and started walking home. On their way, they passed many fields. They saw people working in the fields and planting. Rabbi Shimon and his son couldn't believe their eyes. After spending so many years only learning Torah, they could not understand why anyone would spend precious time planting. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar were now so holy that if they saw something that upset them, it would burn up. And that's what happened that day. Every time these great tzaddikim looked at fields being planted, a fire would come and burn everything up. Suddenly, a bas kol called out to them, "Did you come out of hiding to destroy my world?" The heavenly voice then ordered Rabbi Shimon and his son, "Go back into your cave." Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar did as they were told. After another full year in the cave, they said to themselves, "The punishment for the wicked in Gehenna is not longer than 12 months. It has been 12 months since the bas kol told us to go back into the cave. Our time here must be over too. We are probably allowed to leave by now." As soon as they said these words, a bas kol called out, "Leave your cave." On the day of Lag BaOmer, the two tzaddikim left their cave. "Let's see what's going on in the world," Rabbi Shimon said to his son. As he stood at the entrance to the cave, they saw a hunter trapping birds with a net. As the bird was about to be trapped, they heard a bat kol announce, "Free!" The bird escaped from the net and was saved. "Isn't that amazing?" exclaimed Rabbi Shimon to his son. "Even a bird will be protected if Hashem wants it to live. If Hashem sent us a message to come out of the cave, then certainly He wants us to live and will be protected, just like the bird." The two tzaddikim were no longer afraid to leave their hiding place. On their way home, they again passed fields where people were working. Rabbi Elazar was still upset that people were living regular lives and not learning Torah all the time. So it happened again that when he looked at things, they got burned. But this time, Rabbi Shimon immediately fixed what Rabbi Elazar had done. "My son," said Rabbi Shimon, "we have to realize that not everyone can be like us and spend all their time learning Torah." It was late Friday afternoon, and they saw an old man rushing home before Shabbos. In his hands were 2 bundles of hadassim. "Why are you carrying those bundles?" Rabbi Shimon asked. "They are in honor of the Shabbos," the man answered. "But why do you need 2 bundles?" asked Rabbi Shimon. "Isn't one enough?" Here he's holding the two bundles. The man explained, the Torah says that we must remember and keep the Shabbos, Zachor and Shamor. That's why I have two bundles. One is for Zachor, and the other is for Shamor. When Rabbi Shimon heard this, he said to Rabbi Elazar, look how precious the mitzvahs are to the Jewish people. The two tzaddikim were no longer upset at the people they saw. When the great Tana Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair found out that his son-in-law, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, was on his way home, he went out to greet him. Rabbi Pinchas brought him into the bathhouse, and he saw that Rabbi Shimon's skin had sores from all those years that he had been covered with sand. He felt so sorry for his son-in-law that he began to cry. Salty tears ran down his cheek and fell onto Rabbi Shimon's sores, causing Rabbi Shimon to cry out in pain. It hurts me so much to see you like this, Rabbi Pinchas told his son-in-law. Don't feel bad for me, said Rabbi Shimon. I am happy because I spent all those years in the cave covered in sand. I was able to concentrate just on my learning and grow so much in Torah. Rabbi Shimon had been a very great Talmid Chacham, even before he went into the cave. However, anytime Rabbi Shimon asked a question, his father-in-law Rabbi Pinchas could give 12 answers. But after 13 years in the cave, whenever Rabbi Pinchas asked a question, Rabbi Shimon could give 24 answers. After Rabbi Shimon came out of the cave, Hashem gave him permission to teach the secrets of the Torah, called Kabbalah, to very great people. Rabbi Shimon gathered together a group of students, which he called Chavraya Kadisha, meaning the holy group. The secrets he taught them were later written down in the holy book of the Zohar. One hot summer day, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair was riding his donkey, trying to find Rabbi Shimon and his Talmidim. He stopped some Arabs along the way. I am looking for a rabbi who teaches Torah in a very loud voice, said Rabbi Pinchas. Have you seen him? Yes, they answered. We just passed him. But why do you describe him as a rabbi who teaches in a loud voice? Instead, you should describe him as a rabbi who has a flock of birds over his head. Rabbi Pinchas thanked the men for the information and continued riding. Finally, he spotted Rabbi Shimon and his students. Sure enough, a flock of birds were hovering over their heads. Hashem had sent the birds to spread their wings and shade the tzaddikim from the hot sun. We are taught that in the days of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a rainbow never appeared in the sky. Since the flood, Hashem made the rainbow his sign that even when he's angry with the people in the world, he will never destroy the world. But while Rabbi Shimon was alive, Hashem didn't need to show his rainbow because Rabbi Shimon was so great that he protected the world with his righteousness. Indeed, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was one of the greatest tzaddikim who ever lived. One year, on the day of Lag BaOmer, Rabbi Shimon knew that it was time for him for his neshama to go back to Hashemayim. He called together his students, the Chavraya Kadisha, and said to them, Today is a happy day because I will be going up to Hashem. I will be returning my neshama back to Hashem. I want to teach you deeper secrets than I've ever taught you before. As Rabbi Shimon began to teach these secrets, a special fire of holiness surrounded his house and remained there the entire day. Finally, when all the secrets were taught, Rabbi Shimon's holy neshama left his body. A miracle happened, and the bed that Rabbi Shimon was lying on suddenly lifted off the ground. With a special holy fire burning around it, the bed began to move by itself, as thousands of people followed it to Meron, high in the mountains of the Galil. As the bed traveled, a bas kol called out, Come and gather for the Hilulah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Come to rejoice on the day that Rabbi Shimon's neshama goes back to Hashem. When Rabbi Shimon's body entered the cave where it would be buried, a heavenly voice announced, This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who gives Hashem pleasure every day. Many treasure houses of reward are waiting for him in Olam Haba. Every year on Lag BaOmer, thousands of Jews traveled to Meron, to the grave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There in Meron and all over Eretz Yisrael, even outside of Eretz Yisrael, Yadim, Jewish families light bonfires to celebrate the hidden light of the Torah that he taught, and to remember the fire of holiness that burned on the day he passed away. Lag BaOmer continues to be a happy day as people sing and dance and learn secrets of the Torah in honor of the holy Tana, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Yadim, you can also ask your parents. There are songs that they sing on this special day when they dance around the bonfire. One of them is Bar Yochai Nimshachta Shrecha Shemen Sasa Mecha Verecha. And the whole song continues. And it's so beautiful. It's really a day of happiness. Yadim, I really hope you enjoy this book as much as I enjoyed this book, the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.